Morning in progress.
Good evening. Welcome to Community Grief Support. I am Monica. I'm your facilitator for the evening. Thank you for coming. Let's take a breath together just for a moment as we come together as a community. I just want to also go over our theme for tonight, which will be carrying grief forward. This is our 8th week in the program. It's integration, not closure. Remember, grief doesn't end here. Grief lives in our bodies, but you don't have to carry it alone anymore. That's what our groups are for. So, also, I want to remind everyone in group that confidentiality is expected. And if you do share, please share from I language. And remember that grief and all emotions are unique to each person and our experiences. So before we begin, let's just kind of put our feet on the floor. To feel gravity holding us, supporting us. And just take a few deep breaths together. So we want to kind of do a short body scan. So come to your natural breath. Notice your heartbeat. You can even take your pulse. You don't need to fix or change anything. Your breath and your heartbeat are automatic. Hello, Shalina. I was just I was just beginning. So, welcome. This theme tonight is carrying grief forward. What tonight's going to look like is we're going to talk about integration and not closure, and how grief doesn't end here, but you don't have to carry it alone. So I also want to remind everyone that grief as an emotion can live in our bodies. It's not just how we feel in our minds. We actually physically hold emotions in our fascia, which we know now. And we want to breathe, you know? So take a breath, put your feet on the floor, come and just kind of listen to your own breath for a moment. Feel your breath and maybe notice how you're holding your jaw. How it feels in your chest. Feel that rise and fall of your breath, your heartbeat. And just notice the pull of gravity itself holding us to earth and supporting us, just as our breath and our heartbeat does. Breath and emotional noticing. So just notice if you're tight anywhere, maybe your shoulders, or maybe even your chest. When we think about these things, when we think about sharing and remembering grief, and knowing that the memory and the emotion itself is always going to be with us. It doesn't end, but we can process it and move a little bit more loosely or lightly in life. Whew. It's heavy, right? It's heavy knowing that with our mind body connection, that our emotions, even after we process them, are still going to be with us. So I'm going to go into a short reading on the theme tonight. So, as I said, living with grief, it it does not end. It does not disappear or fade or fully resolve. Grief can become a companion, sometimes quiet, sometimes insistent. It moves with us through life. And carrying grief forward is not about forgetting either. It's not about moving on or leaving the person, the place, the relationship, or the life behind. It's about learning to carry love, loss, and memory together. So some days grief is going to feel light and manageable. And some days it is going to arrive uninvited. And it's going to be heavy and overwhelming. This is totally normal. And it's part of being a human being. So integration does not mean perfection either. It does not mean neatness. Integration sometimes means noticing, noticing how grief shapes our choices and our relationships, our bodies and our hearts, how grief can coexist with joy, laughter, curiosity, and connection, and how grief can teach resilience, compassion, and depth. So tonight we're going to reflect on what you are taking with you from the cycle. What insights, what sensations or experiences will continue to live with you, live in your heart, and physically in your body and your mind. And what practices, rituals, memories can we carry forward So I'd like you to ask yourself very gently, how has grief changed me? So how has grief changed me? And how can I honor the love I've lost while continuing to live fully? And what supports and practices help to carry ourselves forward? It's a really important questions. So how has grief changed me? How can I honor the love I've lost while continuing to live a full life? And what supports and practices help me carry all of this forward? So you don't need any answers, and you don't need to tidy up your grief either. You only need to bear witness to your journey and other emotions that may arise, like anger. Anger and grief go together harmoniously sometimes. Judgment, regret. Grief can open a whole hallway of doors, and behind them are emotions that go with them. So, this is a moment to acknowledge your growth, your resilience, and the enduring nature of love. Because if we did not love, we would not experience any of these emotions. We wouldn't feel grief. So, grief is not a burden to cast off either. It is a companion to walk with. And sometimes it is very hard and it is very heavy, but sometimes it is very light too. It will always be a part of our heart. So, as we think of these things and we decide embodying grief and love together is a better way to go than trying to block or banish or suppress, because eventually we are going to have to process these emotions that are stuck. So, as we talk about these things, we want to take a few minutes to experience the somatic part of this, noticing how grief and love coexist in our bodies. So, if it feels comfortable for you, again, I will suggest to try to put your feet on the floor, feel the support beneath you. Let the chair or the floor or however you are sitting or laying down hold your weight. support it. And then bring your hands to your heart space, or maybe anywhere on your body that is asking for contact. Maybe your belly or your shoulder. Just notice your body. Anywhere you are feeling emotional in your body, a tightness, a holding, just place a hand there. Let your body know that you are feeling the emotions held there. And just feel the warmth of your hands, the weight, the presence of them. Notice the subtle rise and fall of your chest with every breath. And you don't need to change or fix your breath. You just want to notice it. And just notice the expansion of your ribs and how your body moves and is taking in air without you even thinking about it. And just notice that and acknowledge it. Now we're going to try to take a slow, full breath in through the nose and then a long breath out of our mouths with a sigh. So in, maybe raise your shoulders and fill your lungs all the way up. Now try to bring your awareness to your whole body, from the top of your head to your neck and shoulders, your face and jaw, your neck and chest, arms, fingers, belly, your back, your hips, your sitting bones, pelvis, navel, noticing your legs, your knees, calves, ankles, and feet. And just notice any sensations, tingling, numbness, or even a nothingness, a numbness. Tension or ease, a heaviness, or maybe even lightness, anywhere in your body. And then as we notice these spaces, notice how grief and love are moving together in your body. Sometimes they're intertwined. Sometimes they're separate. Sometimes overlapping. Now, as we're noticing not only our body, but how we hold this emotion, grief, love, anger, regret. silently just ask yourself, what do I carry from this grief that I want to keep with me? What do I carry from this grief that I want to keep with me? You may notice memories, other emotions, sensations of joy and hope, or even small gestures of care for yourself. Maybe things you learned during this time, this present time, and allow those things to exist without judgment. Now imagine your breath gently surrounding these experiences as you breathe softly in, and gently hold space, breathing into these areas in your body, softening them, holding them. You don't ever need to release anything. You don't need to fix anything either. You're simply acknowledging and holding space and carrying forward. I say a lot, forward is forward, no matter what speed. And it's true. Forward is forward. So again, you don't need to release anything or fix anything. You're simply acknowledging where you feel these emotions in your body and what it feels like. And then trying to gently hold, caress, soften, loosen. Now, if it feels safe, place a hand on your heart and gently say, I carry grief and love together. Both are a part of me. Let's say that again. I carry grief and love together, and both are a part of me. Now take another slow, deep breath in and a long, slow breath out. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes and loosen where you feel tight and just kind of move it a little bit. And then gently bring your awareness back to the now, back to the presence, back to space here, and not just inside of our bodies and our minds. And notice the room around you. Notice something that you can see, sounds that you can hear, and of course your body, but now maybe hopefully a little bit looser, a little bit more aware. Wiggle if that feels grounding. And remember, forward is forward. And we can hold grief with love. And we can acknowledge grief and those memories and the good times and the bad times and the other emotions that come with all of those things. And as we start to notice that we hold it in our bodies also, and then if we start to acknowledge those things, like a clenching of the jaw or tightness in the throat or chest, letting space grow, loosen, and soften, holding more space with breath, and maybe working through and loosening how hard we are on ourselves sometimes, but acknowledging how hard it is. It really is hard. It really is. So at this point, I want to normalize. Grief is hard, right? It really is. Carrying grief forward is even harder with that knowledge that we can't, and our bodies and our mind won't ever forget. So even if we process, even if we think or are afraid that, we'll start to forget how much we loved, how much we cared about, how much we miss, we won't forget. I know sometimes I want to forget because I guess it's easier and simpler, but our inner mind and our nervous system doesn't forget anything. It just gets easier when we know how to process it. And these are some simple ways to do that. Just holding space for a moment, giving pause to our own body and mind, letting tears come, letting it out, and acknowledging that we can love and grieve at the same time. So at this point, if you would like to share or if you have any questions, I'm going to turn the recording off.